we need to talk about the Freewing Eurofighter. I get it, the jet isn't cheap, which is a huge downside for some people. You definitely get what you pay for though. I personally spent $700 on mine to get it first in the US, and I consider that money well spent. It handles so well and is just so stunning in person. You gotta be hard pressed to find a reason to hate this plane. Eurofighter is shaping up to be my pick for the best jet of 2023, barring some major release that comes out before the end of the year that completely shakes my viewpoint of how good this jet truly is. Eurofighter is the kind of jet that only comes around every so often. The kind where it's designed and engineered so well that you could probably hand it off to that kid who's always begging you to fly your planes but has never flown anything of his at all. And you could reasonably expect to still see the jet flying for a few seconds after he takes control. That's how good it is. Throw a self-leveling gyro in it and you could probably teach someone how to fly jets with Eurofighter. But seriously, don't hand your radio over to randos. You paid for the jet, so let the spectators watch, or charge them a flying fee and get your money back on the flight or something. This probably isn't sound financial advice, is it? There's a growing trend of dismissing jets as boring because they can only go fast, and I have to agree to some extent. I personally think it's entirely pointless to fly for the sake of airspeed alone, but I'm happy to see anyone flying for any reason at all, so long as they're not that guy in California flying on a public beach, putting people in danger because he can't be f***ed to find a proper flying field to avoid putting bystanders at risk of being hit by his damn planes. Flying jets can be more than just chasing airspeed numbers. It can also be flying something slower than it lands, pushing your airframe to fly slower than it normally is capable of landing. Eurofighter is one of several jets that I own that can fly slower than it lands on the ground. High alpha flight is an awesome skill that you can hone with this jet, and it's super forgiving and only starts to laterally depart on you once the vertical stab starts losing airflow from the increasing angle of attack. About 40 degrees is all you should shoot for because anything else will make it start sliding sideways. Using rudder while rolling and loading up the wings can produce incredible barrel rolls and tight rolls that makes the jet's arse slide around the outside of the turn. Sure, you can do this with a prop too, but why would you when jets objectively look cooler? Nobody takes a Cessna up and makes it barrel roll and thinks, wow, this is really like being at an air show, guys. Jets own this realm, baby. I'll die on this hill too. Props are great at some stuff, but jets own the acro that jets are best at: loaded rolls, high-speed maneuvering, and just being a damned jet. Sometimes it's cool to fly a jet because it's a jet. It doesn't have to hover to be fun to fly. Some upsides to Eurofighter, aside from how great it flies and how good it looks, are how durable the retracts are. These wheels operate off of our poor pavement with no trouble at all, and other channels have demonstrated how well it handles grass. The full-flying canards with easy servo access make it super simple to create custom canard mixes for your jet. I personally love my takeoff mode where the canards move 10 times more than the elevons do, which gracefully lifts the nose up just like the full-scale jet. It's one of those things that canarded RC jets are superior at. You want a beautiful takeoff? Make a mix that forces your canards to move more than your elevons do. Check our setup guide linked in the description to find out how. A major downside is that Freewing insists on selling jets with gear sequencing that takes 30 seconds per cycle to operate, and I'm not even joking. When the flight time of jets is commonly 3 to 4 minutes, you're looking at 10 to 15% of your flight time being eaten up with waiting for the damned gear to drop. If you do what I did, which you shouldn't have to do, you can use a channel expander and run the gear and gear doors through it with sequencing in your transmitter. What would be easier though is if Freewing would just get with it already and start selling aircraft with gear that only takes 7 to 10 seconds to cycle rather than 30 seconds. That's just unacceptable. The reason this is such a big deal is that many people fly their planes down to near bingo fuel and may end up belly landing or smashing up the retracts that are only halfway deployed when they come in on an emergency landing. There is no logical reason why retracts should take 30 seconds to function. Gear doors can be operated instantaneously to bypass this issue. Please fix it for the love of all that flies and is capable of high alpha. And the biggest downside of all, I know that I'm going to take a lot of heat for this one because there's a bunch of people out there who come to MotionRC's defense anytime someone says something negative about them, and that's that people are going to have to deal with MotionRC. Unless you want to spend $50 to $100 more in shipping and get it from RC Castle like I did, you'd better do an extensive pre-flight on literally everything if you buy from Motion, and you better hope that you have nothing wrong with a jet before you fly it, because dealing with their support department is a whole grab bag of fun that usually ends up with your request being denied because they think everyone who purchases airplanes from them is a grifting idiot. Take, for example, the Freewing Gripen, yet another Delta jet that I loved. Motion literally advertises it as capable of flying off unkempt landing strips, but I'm expected now to believe that it can only handle golf course grass. Nice bait and switch you got there, Motion. I even offered to provide video and I still got shut down. Here's an example of the kind of landing that caused the gear to fail. Like I said to Motion's support rep, it really makes me curious about manufacturing quality control when a landing on an as-advertised strip of grass is causing the gear to caster and make the plane ground loop. This kind of subpar response isn't something that only I get, hence why I started recommending RC Castle to my viewers, because they treat me well, and when a company treats me well, I continue to buy from and recommend them to people. That's how word of mouth works. I know someone will be foaming at the mouth to say, but you're just saying this because you're affiliated with Horizon. I've never had any issues with Horizon support, and I've had close to $1,000 of warranty service performed by them. From airplane parts to transmitter repairs, they've approved 9 out of 10 requests that I've sent in, including requests that I sent in after the airplane was flown. That is how you handle warranty service. You stand behind your product instead of assuming that your customers are grifters looking for free parts. I don't hate Motion, so don't go rage posting in the comments section accusing me of hating them. The amount of money that we collectively spend on this hobby should give us better treatment from support representatives. My career has been running a support team for most of my professional life, so I have a pretty keen insight into how this kind of stuff goes, and I would never accept that kind of response being sent out by anyone who's ever worked for me. You treat your customers well, and they'll keep coming back. A $30 part is worth far more in customer retention than it is to try to skimp out to save a few cents on a component that costs very little to manufacture. Customer loyalty is far more important than saving a few cents. That being said, if you do choose to buy from Motion instead of RC Castle, your experiences might vary from mine. I've heard some good things about Motion, but I wouldn't be honest with you about my own experiences if I didn't explain the full story of how I've personally been treated by them. Now, that all being said, Eurofighter is my choice of jet for 2023. Rafale is still up there, but Eurofighter does some things better, and it honestly looks better too, and it has fantastic scale details that I really appreciate and adore while it flies. Thanks for watching, and miss me with the MotionRC Defense Force posts that I know are incoming. Come rage at me on our Discord server instead.